Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Gino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and today we are going on a climbing journey of discovery across a vast desert planet. We played Sable, and joining me, as always, to discuss Sable and all the other games we cover, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hello. Hello, world. Glad you're joining us yet again for another episode. This was my pick, and I am happy with it. I think it has some actually very interesting things to say about sociology, which I like. This week's fun fact, I have two for you, because I couldn't properly fact check one, so I didn't want to commit to it.
But that's not going to stop you from spreading
I'm going to
this.
share it. Yeah, I'm going to share it, but I'm going to contextualize it. So, and I'm worried it might be racist. Let me just say it. I'll say the fact.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, the Pekingese, the dog breed.
Yes?
So very small
Hey.
dogs, and they intentionally for a while breeded them to be even smaller, and they called these sleeve Pekingese because it was trendy to carry them in your sleeves if you were part of like the Chinese court. If you
Okay.
were upper class. So everything fine so far. Here's where it gets a little weird. Allegedly, they used to throw these dogs at attackers as like a form of self-defense.
Ah!
Yeah, like
Get 'em.
sleeve dog.
Ha!
And like I said, I found it written in a couple places, but they all just referenced the Pekingese Society of America. So one, I didn't know if it was a real fact, and two, I thought, this might be a racist trope of colonialism. So I'm just going to say that and move on.
I choose to believe that people, rather than having knives up their sleeves, had tiny dogs.
Yep, and they just threw them at their attackers.
Blind them
But-
with a tiny dog.
Like I said, couldn't fact check. Allegedly, that's true. So I have a bonus fun fact for you. Bluefin tuna, very large, very strong, and warm-blooded. Rare for a fish.
Really?
Yeah. But because they're warm-blooded and so powerful, when they're like threatened, like if you try to catch a bluefin, it can exert itself so much that it gets so hot that it actually cooks itself from like the thermal muscle activity.
Wow.
Yeah. Like that's how strong and hot, emphasis on hot, these fish are.
So, how cooked are we talking here? Like medium well done?
That
medium
I
rare?
don't know. Yeah, everything just said cooked in its own flesh, which is probably just like a dramatic rendering. Basically, I think it can get so hot it dies. And
That
they're just
makes
like
sense.
it's cooked. Yeah.
It's done.
It just would be very funny to me it would be a tragic thing, but if someone out there was just horrifying tuna to different degrees depending on how cooked they want them to be.
I can see that like being a theme restaurant.
Yeah, like how cooked you want
Yeah.
rare tuna? Okay. Then
Scare
I
your own tuna.
Exactly.
That's messed up.
Look, we could do this. If Rainforest Cafe can get funding, anything can.
I feel like that's animal cruelty, even though you are going to eat it at the end of this, I assume.
I mean, at least you're gonna eat it. Not like with lobsters, where you just got them in a lobster tank, just staring at their eventual killer for the rest of their lives.
You make its family watch.
Yes, exactly. That other voice you heard is M. Palladino. Hello, M.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone did their Wordles today. I got no greens until the very last line, and then I got it right. The word was choke. And I almost choked.
That's a shame.
It was very scary.
I have not touched Wordle. I did not know what Wordle was for a good month or two, and then it got sold to the New York Times, and I was like,
Mhm.
well, cool. I guess I never need to know about it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. People post it on their Twitters, and It's just a cute little word game.
That was actually going to be. It was going to be my pick for the next
Yeah.
game, but I guess I can pick something else now.
Hard to
It's
pick a game that's
it's
once
a little
week.
short.
Yeah.
No, it's
It would be
once a
short.
day. It's
Okay.
once a day. God, if it was once a week, no one would play it.
I'll pick Loodle next, and then we'll have real fun.
You could do Dordle, you could do Quirtle, which is 4 at a time. Dordle is 2 at a time. And they go off the same tracks.
Wait, so
Loodle's
if
Anyway,
you
the
do-
same, except it fucks.
yes, it's all swears.
If you do 2 at a time,
Yes.
are the letters the same across both? Like if I guess G, is it for both boards?
Yeah, it would. Like if it's on one side of it,
Right.
yeah, it'll put
Okay.
the yellow or the green on one half of the letter on your keyboard.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad we're helping out the New York Times, and I feel like they could use a boost from our audience.
Hmm.
Yes, of course. So
This is very, very popular. Anyway, we played Sable.
yeah, before we discuss Sable, our normal housekeeping, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can send your emails, and you can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. If you were to support us, you would get access to our Discord. You can give us suggestions. You get to pick a game for the Off the Deep End people to play, or at least suggest one. And if I believe we get 6 more patrons, they have committed themselves to playing Unlimited Saga, which I hear is a nightmare.
Okay.
It's from the makers of Final Fantasy II.
Oh, good. The one everyone loves.
Yeah, the uncontroversial one. That's
Yeah.
the person who, his lineage, he did FF2 and then the Saga games. And I said Saga because it's spelled capital S-A, capital G-A.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Jeff Rude, host of the Off the Deep End show, actively hates it. And ZP and Braden seem to be pretty scared of it as well. So again, it's only like 6 more patrons. We're not saying a dollar amount. You just need to be a patron. $1 even would get you in there. And it also gets you access to the Discord, which might put you on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord, I don't know if you heard, but Elden Ring came out.
Sure did.
Sure did. We've been playing that. Gino is having a great time doing a no armor club run because why make it any easier on himself?
We'll explain why I'm doing that later in the show. It's
Yeah.
foreshadowing.
Hmm. Also, apparently the Steam Deck is going to be good.
Yeah.
You guys going to get one of those?
I don't have plans to, but I'm impressed with what it's able to run.
Yeah.
Pete, are you aware of the Steam Deck?
No, is it like a gaming rig? I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a better Vita or a better. I don't say better Switch. A portable Switch. It's a portable console,
Right.
basically a portable PC that plays Steam games.
But
Yeah.
you still have to like purchase the games, right? Like it
Yes.
doesn't come with the thing.
No.
Yes.
No,
But
it can run like Elden Ring.
Yeah, it can
Yeah, I
run.
mean, there are a lot of
there was
robust
a-
games on Steam.
Yeah, there was a clip of someone playing Final Fantasy 14 during the little like launch trailer they were doing. Apparently, it can also be made to emulate some stuff. Don't tell anyone.
I heard that it can run PS1 games really good.
It can do PS1 games, PS2 games, PSP games, Switch games. Don't tell anyone though.
If the feds are listening,
It's bad.
We're very
It's stealing.
anti-emulation here.
we're anti-theft. Don't-
Also,
Don't steal. Don't
don't
steal.
steal. Don't steal. If you're gonna steal some for me too. Gabe Newell was talking in the little like whatever video they had. And it sounds like he plays Final Fantasy 14. Also, he looked like Santa Claus. He looked pretty good.
I'm glad that he's
I'm just saying.
doing well and that his knife collection continues to grow.
With the billions of dollars he has accrued from Steam games.
Yep.
So.
Just bigger and sharper knives. That's what he's been turning that money into.
Yep.
Um,
And we did we talk about the magic thing we were doing?
which magic thing specifically? That we had the listen to the magic? We recorded one?
Did that come out yet?
Yeah, it did. It came out.
I don't know where we are in the release schedule anymore.
Glad you are
'cause it's
subscribed.
all over the place.
Yeah, we have a lot of games in the can that listeners don't necessarily know about. But yeah, so we did a Listen to the Magic with me, Matt Rory of GiantBomb.com, and Magic Master Kyle Moran. That went up, so check that out if you haven't. We talked about Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, the new Magic the Gathering set. I've given up on the fact that Magic is like going to get support from Wizards, so at this point, my protest counts for nothing.
Can I ask a foolish question?
Go for it.
Is Magic Master an official title, like a chess master?
No.
Okay.
He went to the Pro Tour a couple of times though.
So he's legit, but not like a sanctioned.
No,
master.
you don't
No.
get a
Okay.
like certificate.
No, he just got like an all expenses paid trip to Kyoto for an event.
Ugh, lame.
Damn, really?
Yeah,
Is that where they did it?
that was his
That's
first Pro
wild.
Tour. He went to Kyoto. Yeah,
Wow.
he top eighted a PTQ back when PTQs existed and back when top eighting one mattered. He did it at just the right time and got to go to Kyoto, all expenses paid, and then he made I think one or two more Pro Tours after that, before they shut it down along with all competitive play that Wizards was going to put any money into.
They were giving top 8 tickets to Kyoto for free, so I could see why they stopped doing it.
I mean, I guess, but that's only a couple $1,000s to, promote your game. Like, the goal is just to have this carrot that you're dangling in front of people so that they buy your lottery ticket packs to get the
Sweet
cards.
content too. It's all content, baby.
Yeah, and it was sweet content. But yeah, they stopped doing that. So for a while, for 6 months, I didn't cover anything. But Kamigawa was enticing enough, and they've already done as much damage to the competitive scene as they possibly could. I don't think that they could support it any less than they do now. So might as well get back in there and play just for the love of the game. So for my shout out of the week, I saw the Uncharted movie.
Ooh, with Tom Holland.
With Tom Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, video games and movies. That movie's all right. And I will say
A ringing endorsement.
it's fine.
Nice.
Like it's trying to do. Have either of you played the Uncharted games? Have you played any of them?
A little bit.
So I would describe them as like Indiana Jones, but what if taken like one step too far in a lot of cases? Or I don't know that it's one step too far, because Indiana Jones tends to go pretty buck wild in the third act.
Yeah, he goes hard. I mean, Nazi's
People's
face
melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they find the literal Ark of the Covenant and Jesus's cup.
Yeah,
Like,
That's true.
how
That's
much
true.
further can you go?
But the Uncharted series is really known for like big set pieces. Like, hey, here's a entire level that is him falling out of a plane, hanging on to like cargo that's dragging out of the back of this plane, and you're gonna platform from cargo to cargo to cargo, fighting people falling out of this plane. That's where the movie starts. So this isn't really spoilers. It's Tom Holland dangling out of a plane, fighting his way
It's
up.
also in the trailer.
Yeah, it's also in the trailer, so not really spoilers. But the stuff that they haven't spoiled in the trailers, they go even buck wilder than the games usually do, and you could see how it could have been an Uncharted level for sure. They do some really good, like, they went for it sort of moments. So I definitely recommend it. It is a good time. It's not going to change your mind about Indiana Jones movies, but it's definitely the best Indiana Jones-y thing I've seen in a long time. So check it out if you want a good popcorn flick.
Nice.
What do you, Gino, real quick, what do you think of the casting?
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Good, Nathan?
So they tried to cast like a young Nathan Drake. So Tom Holland's supposed to be like him before even the first game. So I guess that kind of works. I mean, he's probably the most popular young actor in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, he's happening.
Yeah, it's his moment. We're just in it. So I think that makes sense. He's charismatic. My problem is more him and Mark Wahlberg don't have great chemistry together.
I just don't like Mark Wahlberg.
It's a weird mix.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like him and those two don't like play super well when they're on screen together, and like the Sully Drake relationship is like one of the keystones. But the actress who plays Chloe, who's one of the other treasure hunters, she and Tom Holland do really well when they're on screen together. So I like that a lot. I also like Mark Wahlberg. I don't think is old enough to play Sully. Like I think he's gray-haired even in the first game and balding. So like, jacked Mark Wahlberg is like a weird fit. But yeah, I feel like Nathan Fillion was just right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So what can you do? Did you have a shout out? I thought you.
Yes. I'm gonna shout out a show on Crunchyroll.
Oh damn it.
What?
Anime.
You don't want to hear about an anime?
That's fine.
Well,
Go ahead. Promote
it's
your
not
anime.
it's not technically an
Is
anime.
it One
because,
Piece?
No.
Oh, okay.
Damn it.
It's not technically an anime because it's not Japanese as far as I know. I'm going to shout out Guardian High Spice. Guardian
That sounds like an anime
something
name.
Spice.
That definitely sounds like
It-
an anime name.
It is a... Let me get the... High Guardian Spice. I mixed up the words.
Still sounds like an anime.
It is a Crunchyroll original. I think it's their first Crunchyroll original anything. So it's their own studio. And it is about a bunch of girls going to magic school. And
Nice.
yeah, it's cute. It got review bombed. And so everyone on the
Gonna say,
internet is like,
like it.
yeah, it had the audacity of having canonical trans and lesbian characters.
How
Oh
dare-
no.
So, the internet couldn't stand for that.
As
So they wanted
society
to,
crumbles around us.
yeah, they wanted to make sure that they never did that again. So I'm going to shout it out. I liked it. A friend of mine messaged me on Discord and was like, "Have you heard of this?" And then he was like, the next day, "Oh no, I looked it up and you shouldn't watch it." I was like, what the fuck did you read about it? He was like, "Oh no, they say it's going to be problems for LGBT creators or whatever." I'm like, "Just watch the show." And then he watched one episode and he was like, "Oh, that was nice. They're just going to school."
It seems
So,
cute.
yeah,
seems
it's
as
cute.
hell. Yeah.
It's cute. If that's your thing, if you want an anime that's not actually an anime, I liked it. So
I'm just happy they're letting girls into, magic school finally.
yeah.
An anime. It's about time. Sable is the game we played this week. And Pete, you love it and you picked it. So why don't you explain what Sable is?
I would love to. Sable is a charming coming-of-age story of a young person. I imagined them as a girl, but I don't know if we ever get a gender. Do we?
I think so. I think they establish girlhood in the
Canonical.
early. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so a canonical girl on her coming-of-age journey to select her mask. Basically what happens is when you become an adult in this society, you pick a mask that basically corresponds to a job or role in society. And you sort of have like almost a Rumspringa. You go out into the world, you explore. They call it the gliding because weirdly enough, you can glide during it. So you glide around, you check out the world, and eventually you find and adopt a mask that you will have and wear for the rest of your life.
Yep. So Sable is the tale of this coming of age story. It is also very much a Breath of the Wild like, is how I guess you would describe it. You can walk up to stuff and climb it. A Genshin Impact like.
Yeah, I thought it almost had Shadow of the Colossus vibes for me, just without the Colossi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got a stamina meter. If you amble up next to something that's not metal, you start climbing it. Your stamina meter will go down until you will fall if it reaches the bottom. And your actions are basically jump and glide. And you also have a hover bike that you get. So you're basically just finding cool objects in the distance to go climb, getting side quests to climb things and do stuff. and trying to find masks and, find your place in the world. So disclaimer early on here, I was not able to play this game very much because of technical difficulties. Sable came out for the PC, Xbox One, like the one, it's all Xbox platforms, basically, all Microsoft platforms. And my PC, it turns out, is not modern enough to play this game because it is not a very highly optimized game. It is pretty glitchy and pretty resource intensive in general, but the way it was resource intensive on my computer meant that anytime I looked at an open expanse, the frame rate dropped to like 10 frames a second or so. I tried turning all the settings to the lowest. I tried closing the draw distance. I tried trying to lock the frame rate on 30 or 24 frames a second. It couldn't even do that. So I basically could not play this game after an hour of trying to play it. I gave up because I was getting nauseous. So Em and Pete, y'all are going to have to carry this one in terms of the knowledge, but I'm happy to ask questions.
I'm ready to go.
So Sable starts off in this small village of nomads who are getting ready to, set her off on her gliding. And I guess when you get set off on your gliding, they kick you out of society and they abandon you for a bit.
Yeah.
They basically
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. They give you your gliding rock, so you can glide around, and then they send you to the temple, the mask temple, so you can start your journey with your official gliding mask. And when you come back, they're gone.
Yeah, they up and leave, which is seems like a lot to do whenever someone turns a certain age, but what do I know?
Yeah, because it makes some sense because this is a village full of nomads. But like we said, everybody in the world wears masks. So if you're a child in I don't know, this world's equivalent of Manhattan, do you just show up and 10 million people have picked up and left?
I like to think that they shoot the small child out of a cannon far away.
You have to go very far.
Look, logistically, we can't abandon you like the nomads do, so we drop you down a chute.
Don't come back up here. Just pretend we're gone.
Also, while we're on the subject of the opening of the thing, one part that confuses me is you get this gliding rock, and slight spoiler, it goes away at the end. You have to sort of sacrifice it to get your mask. But I feel like this is a real waste of the ability to basically fly. You give it to tweens so they can adventure, and then we don't do that anymore.
And the characters in the village say you're gonna get to glide. I remember when I could glide. That was awesome. And I hear that you could, through discipline, you can, glide into your middle age, but I just don't have that kind of discipline. So I don't know. It seems like gliding's something that you could. It's supposed to be like childhood wonder, right?
Yeah.
Your innocence is what lets you glide, and then once you're world weary and older, it goes away. It's like an imaginary friend, except it's super useful instead of emotionally stunting.
You get a gliding rock and you get a jet motorcycle. So there's a big child endangerment is a big part of the gliding.
Yeah, and let me say the first hover bike that they start you out with, the trial tester hover bike, what a piece of garbage. It does not seem to control the way the other hover bikes do when you get your own, but this one, it controls like the Mako in Mass Effect 1. If you hit anything, you just go flying. The physics are wild on that bike, and you're very low to the ground.
They did figure out to rope you in pretty quickly, so you do go flying, but you do not go shooting up into the air 200 feet like it could do if you had a physics collision.
Yeah.
So good on them for figuring out how to make it not toss you into the air like you're doing something wrong in Breath of the Wild.
But isn't it always fun when you hit the edge on the wrong angle and it flies you off into the sky?
Oh yeah, everyone loves it, and then you hit the ground, and if there's fall damage, it hurt. But
Is there fall damage in this game?
no, there's no
No, there's no health
damage.
bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you just lose your grip and fall all the way to the ground, you're not gonna.
Pretty
don't
much. You
get-
get struck
Yeah.
by lightning too.
Oh yeah. Did that happen to you?
No, I just occurred to me that it can happen.
Hmm.
Well,
It's fine.
So you kind of like your first missions are pretty tutorial-y. You're getting the stone, you get the ability to glide, you have to get parts for a hover bike. You put together your hover bike, you go, you lose, everyone ditches you, and you get your mask. And then you're just kind of set off into the world. So how did y'all figure out where to go next and what to do next?
So they give you, there's like a mail system. So your people do leave a letter for you and they say, hey, go to this village and check out this person. But the best thing you can really do is find a cartographer, a map maker. So they have these huge balloons that float over the landscape. And if you find one, they'll sell you a map and you can ask them, hey, what's around? And they'll tell you. And you basically just explore from there.
Yeah, and they also give you, before you leave the village, they give you kind of a telescope that can mark waypoints. So you're kind of doing your own cartography to a certain degree?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about how weird that system is.
Yeah, why don't you go
Very
ahead?
It's kind of like, I don't know why they did it this way. It's kind of like this weird, like, clunky, like, sliding out into the distance, and it's hard to control, like, exactly where you're placing it because you're just sort of looking out into, like, a 2D representation of 3D space. And so I would put a mark and then I would look at my map and it would be like a million miles away because I just went, it's in that direction, go that way.
Mhm.
And then it would like shoot out into the horizon.
Into infinity.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, well, I don't think that's where I wanted it to be. And it takes a while to like turn for some reason too. It's just an odd way of doing that when you could just go to your map and put a pin down.
Because you have so
Yeah.
many maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Well-
odd that they try to make it physical. I guess it's because some of the characters just tell you, like, go off in that direction, and then the camera locks in on a direction.
Hmm.
So it's
I don't
easier
know.
if it's in space. I don't know.
But like if you didn't have the map piece for an area yet, I guess it would make sense. But it's not
Yes.
seem like the best solution either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found. Did y'all play on PC, Xbox, what, with a
PC.
controller without?
The PC.
With
Okay.
a controller on PC, yeah.
Okay, because I tried doing mouse and keyboard, and with a mouse moving back and forth with that cartography, with that telescope, it really felt finicky, especially when there are mountain ridges. Because
Yeah.
at a certain point, like it's basically this little pin that's tracking along the ground, and then it will go
Mhm.
up and over the ridge, but you can
Yeah.
keep going out from there, so
Yeah.
you can't see where the pin is anymore. You just know that it's
Exactly.
going further away. Yeah, it is definitely a bit of an odd way to handle waypointing.
While we're talking general mechanics, there's also a night and day.
Yes.
So like
Mhm.
you don't have to sleep or anything, at least as far as I could tell. But what basically happens is at night there's no more color.
Yeah.
Things just go black and white, which is, I mean, it's cool to have a day and night mechanic, but one of the best parts of the game is these vibrant vistas you're looking out over, and half the time they're just gray.
Mhm. Is
Yeah.
there a way to wait? Do you remember?
Like to fast
Yeah.
forward. I don't think so. I didn't find one, which is also annoying because they're time-based quests.
Yeah. There are some things you have to wait like a certain number of days in order to like do, and you just gotta keep time yourself. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a way to like sleep, that would be one thing. I feel like a game like this, you kind of need some way of controlling time. But that's me.
Yeah,
I agree.
We haven't really said, if you haven't seen Sable, it's got very flat, shaded objects. Like there's no textures on basically anything, except maybe your bike and your outfit a little bit. but it's just very flat colors. Like, here's a leaf, but it's just a solid shade of green against a trunk of a tree that's a solid shade of brown, or maybe alternating two colors. So it's very evocative, but color is basically the only thing that's differentiating the horizon from the ground, from the sky, from, a wall. And so when everything becomes very muted in the nighttime, it's so desaturated that it can become kind of hard to navigate even. It takes a lot of the visual appeal away from the game. So I definitely agree with you, Pete, in terms of the day-night cycle. The look of the game is a not inconsequential part of the appeal, and having the game not look as sharp, 30% of the time is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
The same can be said too about customization. Like, obviously this is a game about picking your own mask, so customization is going to be big. But you have tons of options for your wardrobe. You get like pants, shirts, you can change your bike, you can change the parts and the color for it. So like customization is a huge factor. And again, when you're just sort of losing a lot of the texture and color a lot of the time, it just sort of, it's a little disappointing for how deep the customization is. I mean, these outfits are cool, they're different, they're well thought out.
Yeah, so what did you think? Like, obviously you're getting all these pieces, you're going on these climbing adventures, but there's kind of these hub worlds with people. What did you think of the actual characters and the societies you're interacting with?
A lot of them are jerks.
Yeah.
But the coolest one, so you go to this place where they're harvesting, and I apologize for not remembering it, but they're harvesting lightning crystals. They're basically a power source where the lightning hits these geodes and it basically gets captured. But you meet these people who are, I don't know, 12 feet tall, and they talk and move. They're basically human Ents from Lord of the Rings, and they have these big canes, and it's just like a very cool sort of different society, and you can tell your protagonist keeps remarking how taken aback she is by the whole thing. It's a very cool area. It's intense because there's all these lightning storms, and it's really high up. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Let's see. Like, I spent a lot of time in what's the first big city you get to?
Akria,
yeah. And a lot of the characters are sort of one note, like they don't have a lot of dialogue to them.
One guy loves pomegranates.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like there's the quest givers that are gonna talk to you. Like the cartographers are also like one of the most frequent people you're gonna come across. Yeah. And they're usually like, it's really cool that I get to ride around in a blimp. You should try it. I'm like, I kind of want to ride around on a blimp. Can I?
Blimps are rad.
Yeah.
What if I could move faster?
Yeah.
There's also, you meet a lot of machinists. Mm-hmm. So this whole world is filled with an ancient and unknown technology. It's sort of been lost to time. Like it's, like what are the people in Halo?
Forerunners.
The Forerunners. Yeah. It's sort of like the Forerunners.
Or like the people in Atlantis, the movie with Michael J. Fox.
Yes, exactly. These people predate you, and they left this incredible technology, and you can sort of operate it, but you don't really know how it all works. And these machinists are basically, it's almost like a religious sect, and they think like all these machines have ancient voices that echo through the plains, and like if you really pay attention, you can hear them and listen to them. They're pretty cool. They're like technical shamans, I guess.
Everyone loves techno shamans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're very in right now.
We're basically just listing like mask factions now. Like you can get a cartographer mask and you become a cartographer. You get the machinist mask. There's a climber mask. These are, people who climb shit.
Do you think
merchant masks.
Do you think that if you get the machinist mask, you come home and then your clan's like, ah, dang, she joined a cult?
I mean, they have a machinist in their village. That's the one you get the glider.
Stone.
Yeah, no, not the stone. The bike, like
the actual bike. Yeah,
the bike itself.
Oh, well, he seems like a fuck up. So they're probably like, oh, sweet, another one of him.
No, not that guy.
Yeah,
the one who puts together the parts.
Oh, the one who puts together, not the merchant who makes
that
you
guy
use
was
the
an
shitty
asshole.
Bike. Yes.
Yeah, that guy sucks. He's like, oh, the most important event in your life? Forgot about it. My bad.
Oh, whoops, my bad. You better go find all those pieces.
Better build your own bike. You know, give a man a fish. He's hungry for a day. Teach him to build a fish through 3 disparate parts, and he's got a fish for a lifetime.
We should probably, too, while we're on the subject of disparate parts, the way you get masks is you collect badges. So you need 3 badges to create a mask, with a couple exceptions. And you get badges by completing fetch quests, basically. They're like, oh, you know what I really need? Beetle hides. Go get me some beetle hides.
Hell yeah.
Get a badge.
If you want, you could just buy the merchant badges and then turn it in and become a merchant.
Yeah, because you can finish this game at any point, right? Like you just need to pick a mask. If the first mask you get you love, you can finish the game in, I don't know, 45 minutes.
Can you
Probably.
Yeah,
can you
like
pick the mask that they give you when you start the gliding, or is that your like puberty mask and you need to get your adult mask?
You can. Yeah, you can't pick your child mask as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But you can pick your Ibex mask.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think you totally can.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is
I
could have beaten the game, quote unquote.
You could have beaten the game, yes.
Well, no, because you have to leave town first.
Oh, yeah, you do have to, like, go, and then you come back.
Yeah. But you can come back immediately.
Yeah.
I hate it out there. This place sucks. We're in a desert. Why would you abandon me?
Just ride out for an hour, and then turn around, and then you're done. You've seen the world.
They're just hiding behind rocks. Like, is she gone?
It's a real running away from home situation.
There's a giant petrified sandworm a la Dune. So I mean things are dangerous out there. Not for you because you're invincible, but for other people.
And also, like, speaking of dangerous out there, how did you feel about there not being any combat? Like there's an implication that there are critters out there, but none of them pose a threat to you really, and there's not really much to do to interact with them beyond capturing a bug here or there.
Yeah, like, this is very much a Breath of the Wild, like, I think that's a genre now. I think we can say that.
Yes.
And the fact that it is no combat at all, you're limited to, like, if you want to interact with, like, a big beetle, maybe you pick up a plant thing, and that makes a little puff of smoke around you, and you kind of walk around with that, and I guess it likes it or it doesn't like it. It was hard to tell. I couldn't tell if it was following me or running away from me.
Yeah, the beetles weren't very emotive.
Yeah. But there's no like weaponry, which Breath of the Wild, you're picking up weapons like they're going out of style because they break. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get to my opinion right off the bat, I guess.
Go for it.
I feel like this game kind of is a good cooldown thing for, like, if you are playing a lot of Elden Ring, perhaps, where it's a lot of combat all the time in a big open world. And if you want to just, like, sit down and chill out and watch some weird, interesting scenery pass by as you glide around, you can do that with this game without worrying about, like, is there I don't remember any names of Zelda creatures.
Goron?
Yeah, is there a Goron who's gonna punch me across the map? Like
a Re-Dead? They're the mummy things that jump on you.
Is there a skeleton monster that's gonna fuck me up?
Yeah. Do I have to worry about a goblin thing?
Not goblins, anything but that.
Goblin. Yeah.
I guess it fits insofar as, like, this is a young girl's Bildungsroman, right? Like, it's her coming of age. So, like, you wouldn't expect her to just sort of step into the world and just, judo kick.
Start killing
things in the
left and
throat.
right. Yeah.
But, I mean, at a certain point, you have to remember, like, this is also a video game. Let's act evil.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. Games have just kind of conditioned me to expect that if a young person is going to come of age, there's going to be a lot of blood between them and that coming of age story.
It's dangerous in the tall grass.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
dangerous in the tall grass. Ellie, watch out. There are clickers everywhere. Oh, dang it, from The Walking Dead. Clementine. Clem, you got to
Oh.
kill these zombies so that you can learn to become a woman. It is kind of refreshing having a game where it's just like, go adventure. Go have an adventure. And then
Yeah.
come back and fulfill your role for the rest of your days.
Yep. It's very much like Journey in that way. I don't think you could fight anything in Journey either.
No,
But I don't remember Journey because that was a million years ago.
you can't fight anything in Journey. You just
Yeah.
kind of jump around. You can interact with things. And,
Mhm.
honestly, the world of Journey kind of felt as or more alive than Sable. And you would interact with flying, basically, scarves. And that felt like, there were skyfish and things. Sable's a lot of empty space.
It's true. Yeah, the environment's very sparse. It's almost bleak, which when you get to the lore of the world, it makes more sense. But it does create a very sort of like empty, not like boring, but very, let's say, contemplative atmosphere.
Yeah. So what was the coolest thing y'all saw in your journeys? Like, was there any specific environmental puzzle or creature, something that really took you aback?
Giant sandworm was pretty cool, but it's
Yeah.
dead and petrified. I don't know. The coolest things, at least as far as I was concerned, was the old tech. Like you find these big ass spaceships, and you can climb inside and talk to the old AI. And its name is Saren. It's an acronym for something I can't remember, so I'm not going to bother.
It's an acronym for the character from Mass Effect.
But they'll like give you the lore in the form of like recorded audio logs. And like it was nice every once in a while to get out of like the environment's basically Arrakis. It's basically Dune. It was nice to get out of Dune every once in a while and climb into these futuristic spaceships.
Mhm. Pete, I didn't follow this quest line to its conclusion. What is the setting? Can we spoil it?
Absolutely. I would love to spoil it. So this game's pretty big, right? So I didn't finish all of it. There are other Easter eggs and such, but I did listen to all the audio logs. Here's the basic deal. What had happened was there were these space explorers that came upon your planet, and there's some sort of strange electromagnetic, it seemed like, anomaly around the planet. Like the atmosphere is weird. Who knows what? And it screwed up your ship. So you land basically, and you are stuck there. You can't really get off. There had been a mission to investigate this planet. It seemed like for corporate interests of some sort. And you land, you can't get off, so you have to set up these terraformers. But the radiation shields on the terraformers were damaged. So they're sort of working, but not great, and they're just pouring radiation into the atmosphere. And they make the comment that not only our children, but our children's children, and presumably their children's children's children, and so on and so forth, will have to wear protective gear for the rest of their lives whenever they leave the ship. So I think the basic premise is these astronauts colonized this world, couldn't get off, and flooded it with radiation while they were terraforming it. So everybody had to wear masks all the time. And it basically has now become a ritual. Like it's been divorced from its original context, and now everyone just wears masks always.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's
they took what was a matter of convenience and backfilled a religious and like coming of age implication to it.
Yeah, more or less. So there's this famous book from like the 1960s, I want to say. It's called The Social Construction of Reality. And it talks about more or less how ideology and rituals become reified. Like we assume they're real things even though we created them. And the idea is like, okay, society creates something for a purpose. Right? Like, okay, we need to wear these masks because the atmosphere is full of radiation. And it gets passed down and passed down and passed down. And eventually the original rationale becomes lost. And then it's no longer we need to wear masks to protect ourselves from radiation. It's just we need to wear masks. That's what we've always done. We need to do it. That's what it is. It's a part of reality. So I think this game is setting the stage where that original rationale has been lost. Like the atmosphere is now breathable, but we wear masks. That's what we do.
That's actually very interesting because I was over here like, I hope this isn't going to be like Planet of the Apes, like it was Earth all along situation, because I feel like we've seen that before.
We've been to Ape World a few times now.
Yeah, I don't know how exciting that would be if they were like, actually, everyone's dead and you're what remains. But I kind of like that. It's like, is there a real world example we could cite?
Well, the thing is, like, it's a blind spot, right? So, like, there's no way for us to know. We just assume that this is how things are and must be.
We've always done it, so.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure there's a million of them, but, like, it's hard to point them out.
Right.
So, like, you can do it retroactively.
I mean,
like,
there's kosher. Some of the kosher rules, like not combining fish with, is it fish with dairy or pork with dairy?
It's meat with dairy, but there's certain shellfish you can't eat.
Yeah, so like the shellfish you can't eat were shellfish that if they are not properly prepared, they give you food poisoning very easily. So just coming up with a rule to not have this very poisonous
I don't
fish.
want to worry about giving you food poisoning, so I'm going to say
God just like don't.
It's illegal.
You could say the same thing about monogamy too. Like, you know, we needed to prevent venereal diseases and we needed to like create stable family units. So we came up with a prescription for monogamy.
Yeah, I mean the ritual. A fun fact: if you go through a Catholic wedding, you have to have a interview basically with a priest.
Yeah.
Right.
In order to do that. It's not just pre-Cana. So pre-Cana is like you need to basically sit down for a Catholic, approved marriage counseling sort of thing.
Because you know who knows a lot about marriage? Priests.
But the interview process was basically me and my wife were each brought into a room with a priest at separate times and asked questions like, so you're entering into this relationship willingly, right? And you're not related to each other in any close familial way, and you're both of sound mind and body, all good, and like, yeah, it's technically a part of the ritual of marriage, but it's also very clearly like, hey, you're not being coerced into marrying this person, right, against your will, and you're in a room, you're in a safe room where the other person is not around, or like, hey, you're in a mental capacity, you are able to give consent, right? So that this is not an illegitimate marriage, right? And so you could see that it's like, hey, it's a pre-screening process that covers for some difficulties that before, marriages were more officiated or, you had more government control over this sort of thing. At least you had someone asking these questions.
I did not know that. Are they as overt with that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They ask, like, so are you here willingly of your own choice?
They also, neither here nor there, Gino, I don't know the answer to this question. There used to be blood tests for marriage. Like, you had to go and get a blood test before they would give you a marriage license. I don't know if they still do that.
I did not have to take a blood test.
Okay,
to my knowledge.
That's probably
I think I was conscious most of the time, so I don't think they took my blood.
Yeah, they used to, again, to make sure, to make sure you weren't related.
Yeah, they just asked if we were related. They did not make us run a blood test. Though I would really love to see the Catholic laboratories where they're running that blood.
Just a bunch of priests in lab coats.
A bunch of priests in lab coats with goggles. So yeah, I mean that sort of thing does exist in our, in our world. You just need to look out for it. A lot of rules that when you do closer examination on the religious doctrines make a ton of sense, just in terms of practical, keeping society functioning sort of ways.
Yeah, honestly, it was the most interesting part of the game, too, because the masks themselves are created by these mask casters.
Right.
Again, like they're these ancient machines. Nobody really knows how they work. But like everybody just sort of accepts, like, no, like this is what we wear, and this whole mythology has risen around it to justify it. Now that the practical aspect is no longer relevant.
So between all these masks and kind of these societal castes that are reflected by the masks, what mask did y'all end up settling on, and how did you feel about the relationships between these different masks?
Yeah, I was sort of annoyed by the whole thing because they're
Yeah.
tied. They're tied fairly explicitly in most cases to professions, right? Like you wear a cartographer's mask because you're a cartographer. You wear a merchant's mask because you're a merchant. And it seems like, I guess I'm importing it to our modern, late capitalist context where it seems super dystopic that like you picked your profession at 12, the mark of your profession is on your person at all times. So your identity is tied to this job you do. And everyone knows instantly how they should interact with you based on this job. I guess it sounds less nefarious in a small band of roving nomads than it does in modern late stage capitalism, but it still seemed a little bit suspicious to me.
Yeah, it is odd that this journey basically encourages you to go out, express yourself, discover the multitudes that are contained within your person, and then be like, and also now throw all of it out. You're a merchant. You buy low and sell high now forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that, you're super passionate about arbitrage.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it's supposed to be go out for like a couple of years, try a bunch of different things, get your little tokens, your doodads,
Yeah,
and
your
then turn it
badges.
into turn it into a mask that you want. I can see how it would be odd in other contexts.
This is a series of internships.
Pretty much.
I will
mean,
say,
basically.
yeah, it's more or less like vocational training.
Hmm.
There's no gameplay result to any of the masks. It's not like Majora's Mask where like you get powers or abilities. Nobody reacts to you any differently depending on what mask you're wearing, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I was really hoping that they would have like some unique dialogue. Because it seems like you said, I was thinking of Majora's Mask for most of this game, like bouncing between two Zelda games as touchstones. I was like, I wish like people would be like, if you have the cartographer's mask, which is the one I picked eventually, they'll be like, oh, you want to go into cartography, blah blah blah. Here's where the cartographer is. You should go talk to him. But it didn't react in that way, which is a little disappointing because I feel like half the fun is like putting different masks on and seeing stuff happen because of them.
Yeah, and just picking your clothing too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it wouldn't be. I mean, I shouldn't say this. I have no idea how hard it would be. But there's no voice acting, so I mean, it would only be text.
Right. It's just more writing.
It's a lot of writing. Depending on how many masks there are, the
Like
number
15,
of permutations.
so.
Yeah, if there's 15 masks, then you have to do 15 permutations of every dialogue, or enough to be relevant that the player would encounter it, but not so much that it's a gigantic burden. For it to not feel cheap, it's a lot of extra writing work for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I withdraw my. It wouldn't be that hard then.
It's definitely hard. It's just, is it worth it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess the game was able to sell the society without having them react that way, though it does make the ultimate choice you're making feel a little bit less significant if the world is not actually responding to the mask you're wearing, because it's supposed to be like this big choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be the biggest choice, really. But to answer your question, Gino, so I picked the Shadow of a Kriya. So it's a mask. It's basically just like a blank face with a whole bunch of eyes, and the eyes move.
It's so scary.
It is. It's a very frightening mask. But the guy you get it from is basically like, he's like Batman or like Robin Hood in this world. Sort of like robs from the rich, gives to the poor, terrorizes the night. And he's retired now and he takes care of orphans. So he's a very, very nice guy. And they falsely imprisoned one of his orphan wards. So you don the cowl in his name and frighten away the guards. and rescue this young man from prison.
So you
So,
chose when you were presented with a career fair, you chose Batman?
I chose
Oh, yeah.
I chose Batman. I was like, I don't want to have a mask that just like puts me in a profession. I want to be an individual. I want to be the Shadow. But I don't think when I picked it, I necessarily thought through what life would be like to be a person who walks around every minute of every day with a mask with just a whole series of roving eyes.
Yeah.
I did not consider that a problem.
Didn't think of what the children would say as you walk past them
Did they just
with your
scream and run
horrifying
away?
mask.
I assume
I wish they did.
It is a very creepy mask. The eyes also, none of them like move in unison. They're
course
just
not.
roving all over.
Are they human eyes?
They're humanish.
Yeah.
Don't
I
like
mean, this is
that.
also in Sable's art style, so
Yeah.
it's just like holes with circles in them. But
Okay.
see, they don't move in the same direction either. They kind of like swivel around.
Yes.
It's
weird.
chameleon stuff.
Yeah, it's a very, very creepy mask. And I did also pick an all black ensemble from
Hell yeah.
the Lightning Farmers.
Good. I didn't mess with the clothes too much.
It was a good look.
Mm-hmm.
So M, what did you
I
choose?
picked the cartographer's mask, which is kind of like this clockwork thing. It's kind of got like these two prongs that like circle your head, as it like ticks kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got two like big ol' eyes. And you get this from just like, I think you buy the badges from cartographers. And it's nice. It's like a little clockwork doodad. I picked it because as I was looking at all the masks, I was like, that one's moving. I kind of like that one. And I don't mind the cartographer lifestyle either. Like, ride around on balloons.
Yeah, just chilling. It seems like a good life.
One balloon, please.
Can we... there are just a couple more environments I would like to discuss if we can.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And we can talk collectibles too, because there's tons of those. But I do want to talk about the giant sandworm for a second.
Yeah.
So you can, again, spoilers, but we've been doing them the whole podcast for a while now. You can get inside. So you climb this worm, you find a like camp in its mouth.
So what happens when you get in them guts?
Yeah, if you play the bike call, it opens up. And it's basically like, you remember the third child dungeon in Ocarina of Time?
Yeah.
It was somebody's belly.
Jabu's belly.
That one. It's basically that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like navigate this sandworm, but you find out that somebody else made it in there before you. He's the person whose camp you found. And he basically thought that the sandworm was a god and ended up killing himself so the sandworm could eat him. So like, yeah, things get a little dark out in the world. It's not all hot air balloons and, Batman masks.
Hot air balloons, Colts, and Batman masks.
Yeah. Things get a little strange sometimes. But he doesn't have, you can't pick like a sandworm mask. It's just
you
like
can.
Easter egg. You can?
Yeah. I don't know how you get it. Oh, there's a shrine at the end. It looks like it's horrifying. It looks like the sandworm, basically.
Oh my God. I have to look it up. I might have picked that. I didn't realize it was an option.
Yeah, let's see. He eventually sacrificed himself to the worm as a meal. The sandworm mask made of baby worm pieces can be taken from a shrine at the end of the worm.
How did I miss that?
Did you not find the end of the worm?
I guess not. I just like walked by it.
When you ride the worm, you ride to the end.
My God.
That's nightmarish.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
What an ugly, ugly mask.
It's horrifying. But I don't know what your life path is if you choose that one.
Yeah, what's the job? You're a worm cultist, I guess.
I kind of want to see if there's because there's a little dialogue thing that happens when you pick your mask. Sable mask endings. I want to see what it says if you're like
sandworm.
Sandworm mask.
Some of them, the Shadow of a Creo wasn't super exciting. Some of them are longer than the others.
Mm-hmm.
like just from the few that I saw. It's the shade, not the shadow. But I mean, what's the difference really?
Oh, I hate looking at the sandworm mask.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
right?
Ugh.
It looks meaty. I don't like it.
It does. I don't like its bulbous end. Ugh.
The other good one is the chum mask.
Yeah, that one's so hard to get though.
So do you
Yeah.
need to get all of the chums? All
Chums,
the
there's
collectibles?
100 of them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it does, so like before you get all the chum eggs, it does increase your stamina gauge.
Yep.
Like it's basically the same as Shadow of the Colossus. But the chum is this like huge psychic worm beast. It's actually very cute. So it's just like a pink mask with antlers when you get it. And the antlers wiggle.
Yeah, so
It's
the
nice.
chums are little floating worm things that you can find. They are your collectible, your Jiggy, your whatever the Genshin
Kokoro.
Impact things are.
Rose from Zelda. Also, we've now referenced 3 Zeldas with the Jabu Jabu's belly. That was
God.
from Ocarina of Time.
Let's go with agility orbs from Crackdown.
Yeah, everyone's gonna know that one.
Sure.
Everyone
yeah,
gets that
reference I'm
very.
familiar with.
It came with your. But look, it came with your demo of Halo 3. Okay. So yeah, you find these little buggers, and when you catch them, they then root themselves into the ground and lay an egg, and the eggs give you stamina.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I don't see any holes in that.
Mm-hmm.
It all checks out.
Well, they don't give you stamina. You take them to the queen, who is just sort of hanging out in a cave, and she gives you the stamina in exchange for reuniting her with the eggs.
Her tears.
Yeah. That's it. That's the whole thing.
So yeah, anything else to go over with Sable? Did you enjoy your experience? Did you have a good time?
I did, but like I think a large part of my enjoyment of the experience was my familiar with 1960s sociological theory. So, your mileage might vary with that.
Well, as a video game, if you want something like chill and you can see some, vistas as you're riding by on your bike, that's pretty good. Like, the art style is neat. If you can get it to run on your computer, recommend it. Get it on sale. You won't hate it, I don't think.
It made me actively nauseous, so make sure your computer can run it.
Yes, check your system settings first, and then if you can run it, give it a try.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, check out Sable if you haven't. So with that, it is now time once again for M to pick, and I think the year of fuck Gino continues.
The year of torture continues.
It's not just you, Gino. I'm involved in this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pete also
but you're
has to
just
suffer.
you're just out here catching strays.
That's true. I'm just getting blowback.
It's okay. We're gonna play a game. I think we have 3 weeks for this one because
we've got some podcasts stored up in our cheeks. So programming note, we've got another FF6 pod will be coming to you probably at the normally scheduled time for the next Deep Listens. You'll get an FF6 pod, and then we will come back because we're playing. What are we playing, Em?
We're gonna be on the cutting edge this time. We're going to play a game that just came out, and it's all over the internet. It's got like 700,000 views on Twitch right now. We're going to play Elden Ring. I should have said Bloodborne just to fuck with Gino, because that would have been hilarious. Because he's already bought Elden Ring because he couldn't play Sable.
Yep.
We're going to play Bloodborne.
Go to hell.
We're going to play Elden Ring. Maybe next time I'll pick Bloodborne, though.
Just back-to-back Souls games like a monster. Some sort of degenerate.
Yep. I think I'm the only one in this call who likes Souls games.
I most definitely don't.
I
Yep.
hate them.
Well, Gino doesn't like them at all, and he's been playing it in probably the worst possible way. So,
As far as I'm concerned, we could cut down on our Final Fantasy content too.
That's what pays the bills, Pete.
Yep.
Ugh,
It's got a 95 on Metacritic right now. So,
fuck off. 95
yeah,
on Metacritic.
it's highly rated.
So yeah, we're gonna give it some time to breathe because this game is just coming out. We don't have guides. We don't know what's going on in this game, and we're gonna do a deep dive. Dang it!
And nobody does.
And no one does. That's the thing. We're trailblazers like everyone else. So we're going to try to figure out as much NPC nonsense as we can. I should probably be taking more notes on NPC names now that I mention it.
Oh God.
There's a wiki.
That's not a good news. The
But
Sable wiki had like 2 entries.
Pete,
Yeah.
what if I told you you could become the wiki?
I have enough hobbies.
What if I told you there was a map that only populated like a few points, but it gave you like 10 different unique icons you can put on the map so you can remember what's there?
I don't think this is going to be the game that convinces me to get into Dark Souls.
I think as far as a Dark Souls game goes, this has its pros and its cons.
A ringing endorsement.
I like it, but who knows if you will, because you're going to die a lot.
So Pete, I will say 2 things to just give you some advice that I have learned, hard-fought advice.
Please.
1, it's an open world. If you're stuck someplace, go anywhere else. You can go anywhere on the map. Just pick a direction, go that way. You'll probably find a cave. At the end of the cave will be a boss. It's probably easy. And it'll give you some cool item or something.
I can do that.
Easy as in quotes.
Well, yeah, I mean easier than whatever thing you were banging your head against.
Yes.
And if the game like gives you some direction towards like the big major story bosses, you do not have to listen. So that's 1. 2, there's no honor in Dark Souls. If you can't beat a boss, and you can summon people to help you beat the boss, or you can summon some ghosts that will help you beat a boss, or you can throw, you could shoot arrows from 100 feet away at the boss and kill him that way. There's no honor here. Winning is winning. That's all that counts.
Okay.
Don't try to be fancy. Don't be a hero. However,
Speaking of don't be a hero, don't do what Gino is doing, which is not wearing any armor and hitting things with a gigantic club.
Oh yeah, I won't. I most certainly won't.
I recommend wearing clothes in this game. It prevents you from bleeding to death quite as much as I have.
And in life, just tip from the Deep Listens team.
Yes, but I did this. I chose this to me because this is what I do when I play Dark Souls games. Because I hate myself and everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, next time when we come back, we will be playing Elden Ring. We'll be popping a wheelie on the Zeitgeist, and we will be trying to give you our best opinion, our best analysis of this game and its deep, rich lore, its outstanding world. Oh boy, the 10 out of 10s that it's received, and whether we think it's merited.
George R. R. Martin did some writing on this one.
He did.
So it should be good, right?
George R. R. Martin's Elden Ring.
Yeah. Here we go.
Everything that they gave him to edit, he just said, "What if hornier?" And then that was his note.
We could get some feet stuff in here. I don't think you've gotten to the feet stuff yet.
No, I haven't.
What if the characters were related? No, the ones who were banging. Those 2.
What if there were more of them? Well, we'll get to that. So thank you, everyone who's listening. Sable's great. Next up, Elden Ring. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. And you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, like I said, I found this one very interesting, and it's worth, at least checking out.
Thank you, M.
Thank you. Like I said, it's time to go from no combat to all the combat. I'll have fun. I'm gonna enjoy myself for the next 3 weeks.
Thank you, listeners. Till next time, peace.